Hello everyone and welcome to PSGL Round 3 here at Zandvoort. We're in the F1 World Car and not the Alfa Romeo that I've become accustomed to, and I'm sure that you became accustomed to at home watching these PSGL highlights. The reason for that is we discovered a glitch in the game that even on equal cars, the cars would give off different tyre wear values. For instance, the Red Bull was significantly faster, multiple seconds faster over a race stint comparing to the Alfa Romeos, for example. So PSGL, in the interest of fairness, elected to use the F1 World Car to try and keep the competition as fair and square as possible going forward. That does mean the first two races, the results have been nullified, what means we are all back to 0 points in the championship. What helped me out tremendously, to be honest. Although we had very good pace, and we could have been on the podium in the first two races, in my opinion, without the damage in Bahrain, and then without being pushed off in Kota. But those things happened, and that's racing, and unfortunately we lost out on a lot of points because of that. So this has given us a lifeline to get back into the championship hunt and really try and fight for those top positions in the championship that I'm so hungry for, I'm so motivated for, I so badly want, and we're here in Q1 trying to do that. The start of the session was in fact intermediate tyres, so the end of the session was the only lap that any of the drivers got on the dry tyres, so it was a one-shot qualifying effectively to try and get into Q2. Coming out of the final corner, it's been a fairly hooked up lap for me, fairly conservative in many areas. You can see so far an 8.0 is the best lap time. We do an 8.1, and I was very confident this will be putting me through to Q2. So I was very relaxed about this as Luke Smith goes to the top with a 7.9, provisionally P5, and that is going to be P7 at the end of Q1. So very comfortable, very composed, and a very nice lap time just to get us through to Q2 here in PSGL. And in Q2, we decided to go out for a first run on the worn set of tyres that we used in Q1, just to get a bit of a banker, to continue getting used to the dry track, the grip, the traction, the confidence is so vital here in Zandvoort. The tyres can overheat with a slide of the surface of the compound, and you can lose time hand over fist around this racetrack. The tyres are starting to give up a little bit on the final corner, picking up understeer as we were getting middle to apex on the corner, but we basically do the same lap time that we did in Q1 with an 8.1, and our second run here in Q2 was on a fresh set of tyres, and you can see we are flying purple sector 1 and we're 2.5 tenths up by the end of sector 2. In fact, going purple once again, you can see a 47.1, and we are 3.5 tenths up right now. We know we just need to take it fairly conservative on these final corners just to get a good banker, and that's what we do around the final corner. And now this is going to be putting us actually up into provisionally P3 as we were going to be coming across the line. I like to keep these videos short, sweet, and compact for you at home. So final run of Q2. We've got a very good banker, so we just send it trying and make as much lap time as we can into turn 1, running a bit wide, half a temp down already, into turn 2, throw the car in, hit the brakes, use the banking, rotate the car hard back on the power. You can see getting a bit more wheel spin now, 0.7 down. It wasn't really looking too good now, so I just decided, okay, time to send it. We definitely have enough lap time anyway that we don't need this lap. I wanted to just do it anyway. You can see throwing the car into the high-speed right-hand and understeering wide, and unfortunately losing the lap. But even with that, with our first run in Q2 was good enough to be P4 and only half a tenth away from provisional pole Bari. So I'm feeling really good heading into Q3 that I can continue building on this momentum and looking for a top 5 result here in Q3. 2 new sets of tyres here, and that's all I needed, and that's all I was looking forward to having. Or what I should say is all that I needed and everything that I was looking forward to, because having 2 runs in Q3 is critical. You can use your first run to really push the limits, get used to the new grip level of the trackers. It's always rising, and then the second run is going to be so critical to maximise that. Into turn 1, brake just before the 50-metre board, down to 3rd gear, let the car rotate, hard back on the power, avoid too much of the curb on the outside, it can slow you down, just a little lift through the right hander, now down through the gears, rotate the car through with the banking, hard back on the power. And this was actually my best sector 1 of all the practice I did coming across the first sector split to a low 0.6, and that was flying. Throw it into the middle sector. I missed my turning point slightly, a little bit wide. Hard back on the power, full commitment is necessary. Don't take too much curve on the inside, but now open up the car down to 3rd gear. Let the car rotate through. Now hard back on the power. Bring the car to the right, down the gear, down to 4th. Let the car rotate, hard back on the power. This car is squirming around, looking for traction. Up into 7th gear. Now hard back down the gear, down into 4th gear. Hit the curve inside. Now finish off the downshifting down to 3rd gear. 47.0 middle sector. Through the final corner, you can see the tyres are a bit hot on the rear. We touch the curb on the inside and get a bit of oversteer, and that's going to cost us a bit of lap time. My camera is freezing on the bottom right, so please do ignore that. It will be fixed for future videos. Across the line, we do a 7.1, and we could have easily been in the middle 6s there, what gives me a lot of confidence. But even with that mistake, we're provisionally P2 here, going into a final run of qualifying. And you can see both me and Jarno are warming up our tyres, getting the final preparations. And Jarno is an outlap, and the game gives me a 5th-place grid penalty. And
that'll be removed?
Yeah, I say it'll be removed, but it's not going to be removed. Yeah, the game doesn't know. Unfortunately, when you can be on an outlap with other cars, even though Jarno was not really close behind me relatively, he was also going slowly, can happen. So now we just need to deal with it and try to put this lap together. Going into turn 1, again, brake adjustable 50 meter board, get the car rotated through. A little bit worse turn 1 compared to last time, but that was my best turn 1 of all practice, so I can't really compare. Into the right hander, trying to make up a bit of time, lock the rears, and we went a little bit too wide. Jarno Opme is out of the session, unfortunate for him. Rising up the hill. I know that I have so much more lap time in here going to the fast right hander. We commit hard back on the power, and that was beautiful. Already making up basically half a temp through there into the middle sector, committing as much as possible, neutral on the delta, down through the gears. Let the car rotate, and you can see we're getting distracted by the notifications coming on. So for future reference, I will have those turned off to make sure I'm not distracted. Bit of wheel spin.
We're distracted seeing the notifications, man.
You can see my complaining in the middle of that. Emotions are heightened, but we're half a temp down again. So in total, we've lost over a tenth in this lap. Coming up to the final corner, making a bit more time on the delta through the final corner. Throw it in, full commitment. You can see gaining another half a tenth in the final sector alone. So we could have been a tenth and a half up on the delta here, and that could have really been putting us down into the low 0.5s, fighting for pole positions. But ultimately it was P4, but with the penalty that will not be removed. Even though it was completely unfair, ridiculous from the game, it will not be removed. And we just got to deal with it. We're going to be on the grid here in P9, and I can already tell you it's going to be a very short race. We're going to be starting on the hard compound tyres, and we're going to be looking to try and extend into the race and really make up those grid positions that we have lost. You can see Philippe and Marcel up ahead, 5 lights on, lights out, and away we go. You can see we get an amazing start, especially being on the hard tyres. Philippe goes to the right and turns to the left, and yeah. We're going to look at this on a replay. Marcel covers the inside, Philippe goes to the left as a natural reaction, and ultimately I don't think saw me. He apologized, so I accept the apology, and yeah, please don't send hate to him. Don't say anything negative in the comments. I do not want this. I want to remain positive. I want to remain with a positive community, so please never say these things. Don't go towards negativity. Don't throw harsh comments. Philippe is a driver, but also a person, and I think what's important in these situations, although it can be so frustrating that we had this situation that cost us our race, because it gave us damage, and by the time the damage was fixed, I showed in the clip, there was already a lap down. So yeah, it's painful, of course, but never send hate to another driver. I don't want to see this. Any people who throw hate, I will remove the comment. So please don't throw the hate. But with that being said, I want to say a big thank you for all the support, all the positivity in recent videos. I'm going to continue pushing hard at PSGL, and even if the rubber the green isn't going my way at the moment, I'm going to continue working hard and not let this situation get the better of me, not get the better of anything. and when we can have, let's say, more luck or less bad luck, we're going to be able to celebrate even harder. So I really look forward to that time, and yeah, I want to say a massive thank you for watching, and I will see you guys for the next video. Thanks so much for watching. Gracias, ciao ciao, bye bye.